Alright everyone, it's time for Occult Literature, video number 350, The Way to Life and Immortality. Yes, this is officially the last work I had planned to do for the entire year, and I've still got a couple of weeks left in October and then 2 months after, so I'm going to be speeding through the next 10 works, working ahead for the next year, and then I will begin working on some other side projects at the same time. Now, link in the description of this video to my edition of this work on Amazon, second and third links to my books blogs. It's 188 pages, so it is a full length. Of course, keep in mind, in the initial format, it was about 300 pages. That tends to happen in works of this particular era. And it's by Clymer, so it's fundamentally a Rosicrucian sort of secret society manifest. He was involved with the Nouveau label, the new use of the word Illuminati, was involved in occasionally badgering the Freemasons as well. Interesting individual. You should definitely read multiple Clymer works. Now, this particular work makes one major proposition, which is that mortality and bad health are not inevitable, and that through a combination of spiritual rigor, behavioral adjustment, sociology, in the literal experimental sense, and science, that man will be able to live forever, and that this is in keeping with, and you're not technically wrong here if you take it quite literally, with certain Christian teachings and certain other mystic teachings with regards to health. Now, one really interesting section in here stood out to me, and it's not even a major part, and that's actually about consumption. Of course, this is the early 20th century. Tuberculosis, the White Plague, is still dropping people like flies, and of course, back then, they didn't really have a fully fleshed out concept of germ theory, or only just. They didn't really understand contagion the way we do now. They basically had an adapted version of miasmus theory and thought in many cases that foul emanations from sewers were causing tuberculosis. They overlapped this with simply looking at areas and how healthy or unhealthy they were. Technically speaking, that makes sense because malnutrition causes tuberculosis symptoms. The malnourished would have been in the impoverished neighborhood. So to them it made sense, their explanation. Despite the fact that Clymer was essentially a pseudoscientist in many senses, he was a doctor. Many of his views are flat out wrong. For instance, he was against all concept of inoculation, which means that had he gotten his way, polio would still be around, etc. That being said, he's right on consumption. His treatment for tuberculosis involves the elimination of the vitamin and mineral-free refined starch from the diet, the white bread and so forth, and its substitution with heartier grains, root vegetables, leafy greens, and things like that. Now, tuberculosis tends to actually manifest symptoms in people that are malnourished. One of the elements of malnourishment is not caloric in nature, it's due to the minerals and vitamins that you're intaking. If you have too many deficiencies, you're malnourished, even if you're getting 2,000 calories a day. What he noted is that in many cases, the people that were dying, they were getting enough food, they just weren't getting the right food. And of course, drinking was common, and so this leaches certain nutrients potentially out of the body unless they're restored. So he suggested a triplicate diet involving 3 different classes of vegetables. This would have been considerably more nutritious, along with the savory broth and stuff that he's talking about, than the bread and beer diet would have been. It probably would have saved lives. I think that that's infinitely hilarious because it's in conjunction with Clymer generally in a medical sense being a throwback to the 17th century, arguably at times. Now, again, link in the description of my edition of this work is on Amazon. Second and third links are to my books blogs. Again, a full-length work, 188 pages. Highly recommended. Overall, really great. Although, of course, I do not believe that simply eating more vegetables and praying more and having more self-awareness will let you live forever. I apologize, but I don't think that's actually the fountain of youth because it's been tried by many people before, of course. That's about all. Peace out.